in the middle of all this dominance from Finland, Norway have just hit the woodwork twice. Norway 1, Finland 0.
And whilst we've got you, we know that you're a big Manchester United fan. You can often see you on Inside Devils on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. And we've been chatting about the fact that it looks like Victor Gyokeres is on his way to Arsenal, that Manchester United are turning their attention to maybe getting Dominic Calvert Lewin. How do you respond to that as a Manchester United fan?
Do we have to have him? Like, is this a prank? Is this something? You know, I'm quite confused over this. I mean, the Gyokeres thing, everyone was hoping that they would have this reunion, Ruben Amorim getting Gyokeres back, him with United. But at the end of the day, United are lucky to even have people interested to join them with the way that they performed last season. So, Calvert Lewin for me, I mean, we've already got one striker who can't score in Rasmus Højlund. I don't think we need another one that also has injury issues. I was way more interested in the Ollie Watkins, rumours that were going on, but yeah, it's you know what, he might be a lovely guy, but it's got to be a no from me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a great point there as well, Angelina. It's interesting she brings up those links to Ollie Watkins as well. I feel like that's a different kettle of fish. I think that's a good signing for Manchester United if they were able to take him from Villa.
You're talking about Ollie?
Yeah.
Oh, certainly. But, and it sounds to me like, and reading between the lines, Villa have got some financial pressure. There's no doubt about that. And I think Ollie would be an obvious one to sell because he's, of his age, etc., etc. So that would be a great move for Man United. But, it's interesting that, we're losing Rashford, going to all these premiers and well-dressed, etc. And now they're going to take Dominic, who's probably a better dresser than Rashford even.
Yeah, so, it's close though, isn't it?
They still look brilliant off the pitch, but it's just on the pitch we've got a problem.
I think, and also, Ange, I mean, you bring up his injury record. That's the other thing, isn't it? It's not just that he's struggled in an Everton shirt in that regard. And this is a guy who Everton are basically letting go, and yet Man United feel like he could be the answer basically for them up front. It just absolutely baffles me, especially when they were initially linked to Gyokeres.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, you look at Manchester United's striker situation. If Rasmus Højlund is going to stay, they need to bring in a striker who can take some of that weight off his shoulders because he has had a lot to contend with. I mean, he's not been very good, let's be honest, but having all that pressure on him as the sole striker pretty much, it is a lot. So I do question the Calvert Lewin situation because as much as he is experienced, he's not somebody that you can rely on because of the injury issue. So then we'll have the same issue again where Rasmus Højlund is expected to do it all. So yeah, if they're going to be getting a striker, I know that we're waiting for this Mbumo deal to go through. We've got Matheus Cunha, but you still need a competent striker. And Calvert Lewin for me just seems like one of those signings that we thought United were going to stop making with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos in charge because it just doesn't make logical sense.
Ange, thanks very much indeed. We'll check back in with you as you watch that game.
All I would say to that is, firstly, it hasn't happened yet. But, let's be honest, it's speculation. In another way, when you come to his injuries, if you was going to do a contract with him, you'd certainly have something in place that he'd have to hit a certain amount of appearances for him to reach a certain financial level, right? So I think if that was in place, I would be quite comfortable with him being in the squad because I think he's got talent. I think we all know that. When he's on his game, he's as good as any striker in the Premier League. So if the contract was fixed in terms of a financial sort of reward to come to the club, etc., etc., you play 10 games, it goes up a level. You play 20 games, it goes up a level, etc., etc. And they're contracts that you can do. And I think he would be tempted by Man United. I think he's the type of player who likes ego. I think that it works for him. It works for his image. And I think it could be a win. So I wouldn't say it's a total downer. But if you're a Man United fan and you're thinking Gyokeres is going to come through the door and work with Amorim where they work so well at Sporting, looks like it's gone. That one's down the river. And unfortunately, they're now...
I mean, that is a drop-off though, isn't it? I mean, that is a huge drop-off,
I think it's, as we speak here on talkSPORT when we're sort of saying, Gyokeres or Calvert Lewin, but actually, on their day, there's not much between them, if you know what I mean. If Calvin has a day and Gyokeres has a day, they're very similar. But, of course, the consistency level of Calvin and the fact that he's not really on the pitch that often is the big problem with him.
Would you rock any of the gear that he wears, or Not quite your style.
Well, not now that I'm 60. But if I could reel back to being 30 or 25, yeah, I'd have a go with the old skirt and the old wrap round. Yeah, why not?
I think you look pretty good, mate. There has been another goal in that game between Norway and Finland at the Women's Euros. So we're back to Angelina Kelly.
She's back.
It's Norway 1, Finland 1. Una Savenius in the 32nd minute. She receives the ball at the edge of the box in the D and smacks the ball with her left foot. It soars into the top right corner. The goalkeeper did not have a chance. Deserved for Finland. They've been knocking at the door. An excellent equaliser for them. Norway 1, Finland 1.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. The new Big Arch has landed at McDonald's with its very own signature sauce. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
Got a text here saying Gyokeres to Arsenal, sensational, signing of the summer. Regan is an Arsenal fan. He's called 03717 223344. Regan, do you agree with that signing of the summer?
I think it's an excellent signing for Arsenal. However, I think we've got a very similar player already in terms of build-up play in Havertz, and I think Sesko would have been the game changer for us. And I'm worried that we might be turning our attention away from players like that, because I think we've been linked with Madueke as well after looking at Rodrigo and Eze and stuff like that. I think we might be going to our second targets. But Gyokeres is unreal.
You say similar to Havertz, but I guess the key difference is, although they might have the same kind of profile, I mean, Gyokeres is a goal scorer, and you can't say that about Havertz. Not in the same way.
I agree. Gyokeres is a finisher, and Havertz is one of those players where for 2 seasons we've been thinking, if he gets in those areas like he has been doing, if he does start finishing, we've got a 20, 30 goal a season striker there. I do think if Havertz doesn't get injured in, I think it was January, then we probably push Liverpool a tiny bit further and push PSG a tiny bit further in the Champions League. But it's a great signing for us, and we seem to be doing the right business. There is one thing I'd like to say before coming off the air. Alan Pardew, you would have been the best England manager that we never had.
Oh, there we go. Big shout.
Unreal at Newcastle and Palace. And I remember watching your Newcastle team in 2010 at Arsenal with Tiote scored the 4-4. I remember going to Arsenal and watching your team with Cabaye, Debussy, and Cisse and Demba Ba. And the impact you had on the teams that you managed in a short time. If England took you for one tournament, I think we'd have done very well.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, and I would have liked to have taken this tournament instead of the German that we have, but unfortunately,
I
have Thomas.
I think it's a good signing for Arsenal, and I'm
think it is.
to see what we do.
Regan, great call. 03717
The only thing I would slightly disagree with Regan, apart from the fact England manager, is that Havertz and Gyokeres are very different, actually, in kind of their makeup. Whereas Havertz can drop into that number 10, link up the play, and they can have a beautiful technical goal, which he was good at, and he could sneak on the back post and get the odd header. Gyokeres is much more bullish than that. He'll be working centre backs. He'll be causing them a constant problem. He doesn't leave them alone. He's a physical presence, so it's a nice balance, I think, between the two. Actually, I think if I was the manager there, I would be quite embroidered by that, the fact that I've got two very different types.
Just on you in England, by the way, after that season in particular, when you were manager of the season, Newcastle came 5th, brilliant team, of course, I very much enjoyed it. Was there ever any conversations? Was there ever any approaches? Was it talked about at all?
Unlike Eddie, I did get a kind of, a little bit of a call and sort of, what's the situation? But I think I was very passionate that, and I made it clear in all the press, because the Newcastle press would normally ask me about that if it ever come up, that I would be very interested. And I think if you're an English manager, you should be. And certainly I'm more than unhappy that we have a German manager. I have nothing against Thomas, of course. I think he's an upright and a great gentleman and a great coach, but I personally would have liked to have seen Eddie in the job for this tournament, because I think he had earned the right to do that. Newcastle fans probably won't agree, because they'll want Eddie to stay,
Yeah, I love the Tuchel appointment. You'll be amazed to hear, obviously.
Well, of course.
But actually, on a serious note, it's the fact that he wasn't even approached that I just find baffling.
Absolutely. And Andy's made it quite clear, and his team have made it quite clear that he didn't get approached. It's just terrible that, that did not happen. And I cannot understand. I will not understand it. And I was really disappointed, actually, in the LMA, who didn't really make too much of a fuss about it and kind of accepted Thomas. And obviously, I'm a member of the LMA, and if I was involved, the kind of on the board there, I would have said we need to make a statement that we're disappointed that it's not an English manager, but we welcome Thomas. And I don't think it was portrayed like that. We're going into this tournament, and unfortunately for Thomas, I don't think we're in great shape either compared to other nations. So it's going to be a very big year. We need a big year from the likes of Palmer, etc., to really get our players up a level, I think.
Is that not in great shape because of decisions made by Tuchel or because of the squad at the moment?
No, nothing to do with Thomas. I just think the squad at the moment looks light to me. In terms of the teams we've taken into tournaments before, you can always look and say, oh, we got this, we got that, we got Rice, we got Saka, we got some really great players. But actually, when you look at tournaments when we haven't won, the squads we've had then look a lot stronger than this one.
Yeah, very, very true. 03717 22 33 44. Give us your thoughts on the difference between Havertz and Gyokeres. I feel like we're in agreement, Pardew. I mean, Gyokeres is a goal scorer. Surely it's an upgrade on Havertz, no matter how talented he is.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.